My views are my own. Okay, these are not views of Christ Gaming, the organization. These are views of Jordan, myself. I'm an individual. These are my views. So, when I was doing some research again a few months ago in January, February, or whatever, and I would ask some of these people who are in the esports industry who might run leagues or who might run associations, so nonprofits, and I'd kind of ask them, what are some of the issues that you see? There's my dog's hair flying around my face. I'd ask them, just simple questions. One of the questions was like, what are some issues you see in the esports industry? And what a lot of them would say is that big companies will come in, throw a whole bunch of money into something, and it just doesn't work. And I kept thinking, I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, if you throw some money into it, surely it's going to work. Like, if these big companies are trying to get into esports, that's good. And it is. But I also understand now what they were saying when just because you have money to throw at something does not mean that it's going to be good. And Telus Esports Series is the exact perfect example of that. I want to say that for the most part, they are doing a really good job. They are in partnership with Northern Arena, so once in a while they will have like a main stream on there where they have LeafX, who is an RLCS caster, and another guy who is also a big caster, but I don't remember his name at this moment. Really good production. They have a lot of viewage on that. That is great. There's a lot of prizes. That is also awesome. There's a casual division for people who are low skill level to just get in, win draws, win contests, and play, have some fun, look at their standings, whatever. And then there's a competitive division, which we're in, to have a little bit more competitiveness to it, where again you can win prizes, you can win contests, all of that stuff. That is great. Don't get me wrong. That is great. And I know a lot of people are probably working very, very hard to try to get this thing rolling. And it is the first time that Telus is putting something on, but I will just say it has been nothing but frustrating, except for our game yesterday. That was actually a lot of fun because it was being broadcast by them. So LeafX was saying Cryus, and I was like in the middle of them because I was doing a watch party, virtually, of course. So I was like, haha, look, I'm between these two. But regardless, that was a lot of fun. I might talk about that a bit more in a second, but from the very beginning, we have just had issues. First off, their website was just not working very good. What we tried to do, since we're an organization, is I would make the team, right? And then I wanted to manage them. That is my job, right? That is part of my job, is to manage my team so they don't need to worry about logistics. They can just play. But so far we found out nobody, not just Telus, no leagues that we've been in are at that point yet. For the most part, it's the players are the only ones allowed on the team. They're the ones who have to make the team, and they're the ones who have to schedule everything. So basically, it's like my job doesn't exist yet because we're not at the point where it can exist, which kind of sucks. Obviously, I do a lot of other stuff, but I just mean that was kind of the part managing-wise that we wanted to really help our team so they don't need to worry about it. But I can't, because I went into Telus at the very, very beginning. This is like a couple months ago, and I made Cryus Gaming, made a team. I was trying to invite the boys to it and stuff. There's only 3 spots allowed on a team, just for 3 players. I could not get myself out of the position that I was already in. Once I made the team, I was the captain. I couldn't get out of it. I couldn't remove my role. I couldn't give it to someone else. So that was a mess. So we had to get our other player to go in, make the team, invite the other 2, and that was that. But I also could not get rid of my other team that I made. I could not just remove the team. So then I had to talk to the admins and stuff like 3 times to get the other team removed so we could have our good team in, because they wouldn't let me transfer out my role as a manager to my captain because I didn't have any positions open. So, I mean, that was the first frustrating part. The second thing that's a little frustrating is no substitutes are allowed, which doesn't make any sense at all to me. Okay? So you have 3 players on the roster. That is it. You cannot... There's no space for a sub or for 2 subs, just in case, one of the players can't make it. It's just the 3. You also cannot just sub somebody into that 3, right? It's the 3 players who signed up are the only 3 players who can play throughout the entire thing. If not, you have to 2v3 or forfeit. And of course, we're sitting here thinking that's kind of dumb. But then, of course, we had the situation where as soon as the league starts, one of our players has some family emergency stuff going on, so he's not able to play for the first 2 weeks. And so we're telling these people, we're like, this is like, how does this make any sense that no substitutes are allowed? He literally cannot play for like a couple of weeks and you're not letting us sub. And so when we would ask why, they would respond saying, because 3 players are allowed only. Which that part is the thing that made me the most angry, because there was no explanation. I'm asking, I just want to understand why, because I think that it's weird that in a league, there's no room for a sub, even just one sub. Like, every league has that. Like, there's no way that you can enter a league and expect the same 3 players to play every single game twice a week. And if one of them is sick and they can't play, that's too bad. If one of them has an emergency, can't play for a couple weeks, that's too bad. If one of them literally is just too busy that day working, too bad, no subs. So that didn't make any sense to me. And then when we would ask why, especially because it's impacting us, it's impacting our results, which it has, and I'll get into that in a second. There was just, the only explanation we got was because we're only allowing 3 players on the roster. Like, I understand that, but tell me why. Like, I just want to know why. What's the reasoning? Like, if you said, oh, it's because logistically, blah, 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 then I'd be like, oh, okay, you know what, whatever. That makes sense, I suppose. But when there's no explanation, they're treating us like we're children. I'm like, I'm not. I'm 23. I own an org. I'm literally asking because it's impacting our team right now because we have a guy who can't play for 2 weeks and we're going to have to 2v3. The only solution that they gave us was we can replace him on the team, but that's it. Then that's the 3 that we go with. So they were going to let us replace our 1 player, but then he was going to be kicked out of the whole league. So we couldn't even have a sub play for 2 weeks and then our original guy come back in. No, it was either you 2v3, you forfeit all your games till he can play, or you replace him. And I was like, those options all suck. But what the option that we went with was we just 2v3'd and we won every single game except 1. And the team that we lost to are not even in the thing anymore. They dropped out. So it's so frustrating because okay, there's so much to explain, but it's hard for me to try to do because I have so many thoughts in my head, and I know all of this stuff going on because I've obviously been doing it, been a part of it. So the top 4 from each division in the competitive division or whatever, I think there's 4 like sections, right? So top 16 in total advanced to like the finals weekend, which Telus is broadcasting all of that. So that means that it's only the top 4 from like each section, okay, who make it. So like top 4 from this, top 4, top 4, top 4 until you get 16. Right now, our team is 5th place because we have 1 loss to the team. And here's the thing about that team. Since we told them that our player was gone and they wouldn't let us sub anybody in, we said we'd 2v3, but we'd appreciate if they would maybe just 2v2. Like, that's fair then. And they said, okay. Until we started winning. Then they brought in their 3rd player and beat us. That made me so angry because we beforehand said, hey, just so you know, we have to 2v3 because we don't want to forfeit just randomly. Like, we want to still play. Our players want to play, but Telus isn't letting us have any subs in. Can we 2v2? They said yes. Then as soon as our team started winning, beating them, they brought in their 3rd player so they could beat us. And I was like, that is so... And then they dropped out of the whole thing. So we lost to these guys because they 3v2'd us after we started beating them. And then they dropped out of the whole entire event. It just made me so mad.